Was I in a cult? Part 43. Quick recap. The church cult that I was a part of accused me of using drugs, took me to the hospital to get a drug test, and medical staff at the hospital doped me up on some kind of chemical restraint and had me admitted to a drug rehabilitation unit. Through the course of time, I don't know if I realized this during the hospital visit because I was so highly medicated that I couldn't think straight and I couldn't get proper information, and I could barely get a list of my patients' rights, which obviously were being completely violated. However, nobody was doing anything about it. I was in a state of being highly medicated to the point of where I looked like I was not okay. I looked like a zombie because the medication was so strong that when I finally got my appointment with the psychiatrist, I was basically catatonic. Like, I was basically in a zombie-like state. And through that, I tried to talk. I was shaking, and the psychiatrist is just looking at me, and I don't know what kind of diagnosis he was trying to place on me or what, but he didn't change my medication. He kept giving me the same type of medication that was putting me in the state that I was in, which looked very mentally ill, if that makes sense. So I looked like I was gravely... Now, again, that was not the state I came in to the hospital with. This is the state that the hospital put me in. However, try proving that to the psychiatrist. I said, this is not me. What you're seeing right here, this is what the medication is doing to me. So I have a definition of catatonia. It is a disorder that disrupts a person's awareness of the world around them. People with this condition can sometimes react very little or not at all to their surroundings, which is what the medication was doing to me. It was not like that when I entered the hospital. The person might behave in ways that are unusual, unexpected, or unsafe to themselves or others. It can have life-threatening complications, but is very treatable with medication or techniques. However, the medication is what caused this state in the first place. I found out later on that I had these 5150 holds being placed on me, which are absolutely ridiculous because I was never a danger to myself, nor was I a danger to anyone else. I never did any of those things that would make people believe that I was, and I was not gravely disabled when I entered into the hospital in the first place. For some reason, they were able to get these judges to sign me over to stay longer in this hospital because my insurance was covering it. And the reason why I was in the state that I was in, if there was any psychosis at all, was because the medication they gave me made me in that state. They put me in a zombie-like state where I couldn't function. Now I'm going to fast forward a few years way down the line after I was kind of out of the situation. I worked at a mental health clinic in, I'm not going to say because I don't want people to come for me, but I will say that as I was an employee of a mental health clinic, I remember people walking in looking completely like they were okay and they were fine, but maybe they were just feeling a little stressed out, or they were feeling a little anxious, or maybe they were feeling like, you know what, I'm a little more sad than normal because I lost my mother, right? I would see these patients come in. Every single one of those people that came in left with a diagnosis. So if you go into a mental health clinic, you're going to go out with a diagnosis. And you're going to go out with a bunch of prescriptions for psychiatric treatment. Meaning they're most likely going to put you on either an antidepressant of some sort or some antipsychotic medication, some anxiety medication, and generally speaking, most of the people that came in the next time I saw them after taking the medication and they were coming in for like a follow-up, they looked worse than when they came in. They progressively got worse every time I saw those people come back to the office. They were not getting better, they were getting worse. And I believe that it was because of that medication that they were given. So being on the other side of it and seeing the fact that all these different psychiatric medications, their sales reps would come in and give us all kinds of goodies and stuff like that for the office to just, you know, basically get us to promote their medication. Whether it was a new form of, you know, I don't even remember like what was big at the time, but you know, stuff like Prozac and all these other types of medications, right? Those sales reps from those companies were coming and they were making deals basically so that they could get their meds prescribed to our patients, whether they needed them or not. If they came in, clearly they needed something, and so they were just going to give them the best deal that they had with the pharmaceutical reps that were coming to see them on a regular basis. I worked in the industry myself, so I've seen some things. The system is clearly set up to make money. And so many of these medications are just experiments. Oh, this person's depressed. Let's give them this. See if it works. If it doesn't work, we'll try something different. Let's see. What new sales rep is coming into town this week? How about we try that medication? Because then we'll get a kickback if we prescribe the medication that the sales rep gives to us. You know, it's all a game. I couldn't continue working there because I had too much integrity. And I couldn't continue working there because I felt like I wanted to send everyone away and tell people, please don't come here because you're going to leave more messed up than when you came. I think that the staff is trained in medical school and whatever psychiatry training or psychologist training that they receive. I feel like they're told that these medications work, and I feel like they think they're helping these patients. But this medication, after being on several types of it, I can clearly say that a lot of it does more harm than good. I mean, you know what? There are some people that do say good things about certain medication, but everyone is different and everyone reacts to medications differently. So, I mean, if you're taking something and you feel like it's working, that's great. If it's helping your anxiety, it's stopped your depression. But if the medication has put you into a place where you no longer have feelings and you're sitting there like a zombie and you're just basically put in a state where you're compliant to your surroundings, to your doctor, to the people that are in charge of you because they've deemed you gravely disabled, that's just wrong. I was starting to feel like they were trying to medicate people enough to the fact that they could make them become gravely disabled and dependent upon the medication and the psychiatrists, obviously because there was money coming in for the units that they were coming into, and there was money coming into the system from all avenues. My point here is that you should actually have a choice of what medication you want to take. It shouldn't be forced upon anybody, and this medication was forced upon me. I had no choice. And when you're put on these involuntary holds, you have literally no control over what they're going to drug you with. To me, that's just wrong. And the fact that someone could have someone committed with little to no evidence like I was, that's crazy. I was involuntarily committed when I was being falsely accused and no evidence was given. How is that legal? And there's really no way to fight it because judges that never saw me made judgments. They just blindly believe the doctors. I'm out of time. More